All right, folks, let's go to Georgia, where Georgia brother is using the stand your ground law to justify the killing of a 17-year-old white teen. Marcus Wilson, a biracial man, was driving with his white girlfriend when they were accosted by a group of white teens in a truck. The group called Wilson a nigger and his girlfriend a nigger lover as they attempted to veer the couple off of the road. Now, fearing for his life, Wilson fired a warning shot, striking one of the occupants in the vehicle, 17-year-old Haley Hutchinson. Wilson was licensed to carry a firearm. Now, Wilson was denied bond and has been held in jail for over a year. His attorneys believe he should have never been charged, citing the controversial stand your ground law, which allows a person in fear of their life to use a weapon legally. Joining us now from Decatur, Georgia, is James Woodall, president of the Georgia NAACP. James, glad to have you. Okay, so I'm just trying to understand. Have y'all looked at other stories of white people who use stand your ground law? Are they sitting in jail for a year?
Yes, Roland, and thank you for having me. One, we know that there's the disparity altogether. About 75% in Florida, in comparison, about 75% of black people who are, killing white people and use this law, they end up in jail, right? But in comparison, only about 50% of white people who do the exact same, they end up held accountable as well. And so the disparity is just outrageous. But even to make matters worse, when you talk about stand your ground, one of the things that's so important is to lift up this question of immunity. And here in Georgia, you have a pretrial motion in which a defendant who is charged with a crime, who has been indicted, and is alleged to have committed an act of felony murder, they get the opportunity to go through that pretrial motion. And this is where we are in this case. But what's so challenging for us is that we cannot trust that we will get a fair trial. The judge from the onset has been impartial. He has been very negative. He has shown a bias towards these individuals who committed this act of aggression towards Mark and his girlfriend, even so much as they stood on the bench back in August of last year, told us that they told law enforcement that they not only were underage, not only were they drunk while they were driving, not only were they drunk while they were driving with alcohol in their cars, but now they had also hanging out the window, with doing all of these things, and not once was even so much as cited for any kind of criminal act. And instead, you have Mark, who is charged with a crime and has been in jail for over 400 years. And so this is the standard of justice, if you will, or how the legal process presents itself for us, and this is what we're fighting against.
So, again, what's crazy, first of all, was there any video? Was there anything along those lines? And what's the justification for holding him for a year?
Well, one, there was no video of the incident itself, and for those who have been in Statesboro, this was on the bypass, and there's no cameras, there's no lights. It's a very dark road, and so when you have a black truck with a whole bunch of drunk teenagers driving down the road trying to run you off the road, you don't have time to record. You don't have time to even call the police. All you have time is to either get off the road or protect yourself. And if people remember, during the Trayvon Martin case, the stand your ground thing came out then. There is no duty to retreat here in Georgia. And so you can use force to defend yourself against acts of aggression and uses of force against you as well. That's what Mark did. But in this case, the judge has asked, why did he have a gun? You know, if that was a white person, that would not even be a question. We hear things about Second Amendment and those kind of things. But when you think about this case, what was so outrageous is that the defense attorney, the lead counsel for Mark Wilson, was arrested last week. The judge held that man in contempt of court because the judge and the prosecutor were having ex parte communications. The judge took home evidence that had not been admissible to the court. He kept it overnight and then came back the next day, and once the defense was notified of it, they immediately objected. And instead of giving back that binder of evidence, the attorney wanted to give it to the clerk to establish chain of custody, which is the proper procedure. The judge did not do the proper procedure, neither did the judge notify the court properly. And so this is one of many of instances during this case that the judge has just acted totally impartial, and there's no confidence that we can get a fair trial.
Have y'all tried? Well, first of all, has his lawyers tried to get the judge recused from this case?
Yes. So there have been multiple motions for recusal. Right now, the courts have, the entire judicial circuit has recused themselves from this case to decide whether or not that this judge needs to recuse himself. We're calling on the judge to simply just do the ethical thing and recuse himself, right? We shouldn't have to go through lengths and bounds to get him off of this case. But nevertheless, one of the most challenging things about this case, and I'm so glad that you're having us on to talk about it, is the fact that the judge has issued a gag order on the case. Nobody can talk about the case who's a party to the case. There's been no media attention around it outside of one local media station, and they have done a tremendous job. But there's been so many barriers to be able to lift up what is happening. And so, again, Roland, just thank you for this, because when we talk about black people being lynched, when we talk about George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, what we're seeing is the legal system using the links that they go to ensure that we lynch somebody through state-sanctioned violence. This is exactly what it is. And so we're working to hopefully get this man off of this case and get it into the hands of someone who's going to at least hear the facts. The rule of law says if you are met with aggression or deadly force, you can meet that force with force. That is exactly what happened, and unfortunately, Haley Hutchinson died. But the very fact that they are drunk driving, if you don't even have the whole racial part to it, they are drunk driving and trying to run this man off the road. Add the other facts to this case, it becomes very clear as day, but yet instead, this man is sitting 400+ days in jail. I'll also add, his dad was a former fire chief in one of the neighboring cities here in the state in Atlanta. His brother-in-law is a deputy, a sheriff's deputy. Family lives nearby. The sheriff of his hometown committed to ensuring that Mark went back to the courtroom to ensure that he would not, obfuscate of his responsibilities of being present. So there is no reason why this judge determined that he is a flight risk of any sort, but instead, this became very political. This became very, concentrated on, well, he's a black male and this is a white family, and because he killed a white person, then he should be held responsible. That's unacceptable, and that is not justice here in this state.
James Woodall, president of the Georgia NAACP. We surely appreciate it. Be sure to keep us updated on this case so we can follow it, and it'll be great to see what happens next.
Thank you, Roland.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am Roland with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared. You dig?